Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the NECA Toys Batman 25th Edition Batman Bundle featuring the Blu-ray and action figure. Spot ended up having to get this on eBay just because local retail didn't carry these. And I don't think there was a way to get just the standalone figure. It seemed like a lot of the sellers were going with the full package deal. I already technically have the Batman on Blu-ray, but you know, you can never have enough Batman, the original Batman on Blu-ray, so it's okay that it came with the figure. But really, the thing I wanted to get the most definitely was the figure itself. So we're not going to spend too much time on the Blu-ray itself of Batman. It's pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, the figure itself is very, very impressive. It's taken the NES Batman that we've already had a look at, and they've colored it for a movie-accurate experience. Now, one thing I do really like is that the packaging features the original '89 Batman toy line packaging, with the gold treatment, the Batman logo up the top there as well. It says 25th edition Batman Bundle, Batman Blu-ray with action figure. It says much purchased Blu-ray and action figure at on the same receipt, and then they give you the Blu-ray barcode there as well, the UPC. He doesn't look like he comes with any sort of accessories. If he does, it's probably way down at the bottom there. Then on the back of the package, this was originally on the '89 Batman toy line. I picked up a lot of the toy line back in '89 when the movie came out, because I don't know if your theaters did this, but a lot of movie theaters back in the day used to do a lot of add-on selling. So when you came out of the theater from watching the movie, they would have figures and stuff like that available. They did that with the original '89 Batman, where you could walk out and then they had toy lines available for the kids to be, you know, obviously the kids would want after seeing the movie. They did that also with Gremlins, the original Gremlins, and they also did that with Dick Tracy, where I remember coming out of Dick Tracy, and they had the little watch, they had the smaller figures and stuff like that. So that was a really neat touch, really smart, really, from the standpoint of the movie studios, the movie theaters, to be doing that. And I vividly remember this packaging. And Batman came with different head sculpts. One Batman looked a little awkward, a little more awkward than the other. But yeah, they had the Batmobile, the Wayne Manor, Bob the Goon, if anyone remembers the Bob the Goon figure. So really, a lot of this brings me right back. Your read-up down below, well, it's not really so much a read-up, but it says Batman defends Gotham streets against crime. When the bat signal flashes across the night sky, the caped and mysterious Batman descends from the rooftops of Gotham City, protecting its citizens of evildoers, has been called the world's greatest detective. Only Batman, whose skill as a resourceful escape artist, master of disguise, and genius strategist, can save the city when all else fails. His arsenal against crime includes his high-tech utility belt, his sleek armored Batmobile, and the ultra-modern Batwing. Certainly virtual hat tipping off to NECA Toys for not only releasing Batman in the true Batman colors, but also giving us this phenomenal packaging here, which again really draws me to my childhood. You can go to www.necaonline.com if you want to check out the other pieces that NECA Toys are producing. And having said that, Spot's going to take a break, get this opened up, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the 25th anniversary edition of Batman from NECA Toys. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Sure enough, after opening up Batman, you realize that his accessories are located on the back of his cape. There's a little clear bag that's taped to the back of his cape, so when you get him out of packaging, you'll know right away he comes with the same accessories that came with the NES Batman. And those accessories include his grapple gun. Let's bring the camera in and go show you guys the details on that. Basically just cast in black plastic. There's a little bit of silver that's featured on the handle area where this would have hinged to close. It doesn't actually hinge or anything like that, it's just a sculpted piece. And then you've got the gold in the grapple hook itself. You also get yourself the Batarang. Again, does not fold or anything like that, but it has some detailing on the tips the Batarang, little silver tips Batarang. And the last of his accessories include 2 interchangeable hands. One's a closed fist, one's a more open hand, depending on how you want to pose your figure. Currently the figure has one closed fist and one completely open hand, so if anything, I'd probably keep the closed fist off, and if anything, I probably would just swap out the completely closed fist with that of the partially open fist. You just pop that right off, take the hand that you want to change to, and wiggle it. Don't pop it back on. Just do a little bit of wiggling as you apply pressure, and you can get it back into place, like so. And then from there, you'd be able to hold, in this case, the Batarang. Put that into his hand. It doesn't sit very well in his hand, but you still can get Batman to hold it. And then, of course, his grapple gun is better suited for his other hand, to which you can just wedge it into place. You have to kind of get his thumb. Same thing with the NES Batman. You kind of have to get his thumb over the section of basically over the top of the gun section. So you have to kind of get the thumb to about there, and then you can get Batman to hold the grapple gun, no problem whatsoever. And just take that off, put those to the side. Of course, Batman is a reissue to some extent. Technically, he's a reissue twice. He's a reissue from the taller 18-inch version of Batman that we've already had a look at, just scaled down. And then for that matter, too, he's also a reissue of the NES Batman, which we've talked about before. So I guess really, first things first, he would have been a scaled-down version of the 18-inch Batman to give us this guy here. And then from there, a repainted version to give us the more classic look of Batman right here. Loved this Batman. Of course, I grew up again with the 80s Batman video game, so that was my bread and butter, that was my meat and potatoes. But this figure is awesome. It is so awesome. It pretty much essentially keeps all the same articulation that the larger Batman had. None of it is trimmed back, right down to the fact that the torso, as mentioned with the NES Batman, the torso is a rubber piece that's been applied over top of an existing torso. The cape also is carried over to cloth rather than plastic, which I think works better for this Batman versus an actual plastic. If this had been rubbery plastic, if this had been a more denser material, you couldn't have it flow as well as it does here. And I generally like plastic capes because the materials consistently go better together, but then there's some instances where I like a fabric cape much more. And in this case, this fabric cape works a lot better with the Batman here than I think if they had given us a sculpted cape. Pre-sculpted cape looks good, but the fabric cape looks a lot better. Likeness to Michael Keaton, I think, is there. Fantastic work by NECA. And also, too, above and beyond just the face, I also dig the sculpting that they put in the cowl. Because the cowl itself was a rather rough-looking piece in the movie. It wasn't a smooth-looking piece. In fact, looking at it closer, you could see all the little indentations and markings where they would have sculpted and fabricated the cowl. They carry it over to this figure, too. He's a little smoother in the torso chest piece than he does in the cowl, but again, that works for how he was designed in the movie. Things such as his utility belt are sculpted to the lower section of Batman, where it is, again, a rubbery piece. Top section is a rubbery overlay to the existing torso, but the bottom section is a rubbery lower torso that conceals the joints of Batman. All the joints, essentially, again, are the exact same. Find the legs move a little harder, like it's hard to get the legs as forward. I really had to do some prying to get the leg moved forward. Because the joint is concealed underneath the armored piece of his leg, you have to kind of adjust the leg accordingly to kind of get that leg to move a little further. But that knee section does at times push the lower leg section further back, kind of giving it an angled look. He's got his Nike boots, which again are, I think it was Nike or was it Reeboks? I think it was Nike with the boot covers over top there. It's a great looking figure. Really could have used a display stand. He has the peg holes, but he doesn't come with a display stand, which is kind of a shame. Though the face and really overall sculpt of the figure is great. I love this figure. It could potentially be Spot's favorite figure of 2014. I've reviewed a lot of figures, reviewed a lot of toys during the course of 2014, and thanks certainly to all you guys who have watched the videos and followed along. But you know what? Batman here could be the figure to look for 2014. If you haven't picked up this figure, do yourself a service and definitely pick him up. Just to also give you guys an idea, if you flip around the cape, he does have the rubbered piece on the back there, which again is accurate to how it was in the movie. For your articulation, let's just fix Batman's cape. For your articulation, Batman does have a straight swivel in the head. It does kind of move up and down, but really, whatever movement it does, the rubbery cowl over top of it really hinders a lot of the movement up and down. Shoulders are also in a ball hinge socket, so they rotate out. Really stiff though, that's the only problem. So rotating the arm out can be a little problematic. You can get to about there. I'm not going to really force anything above and beyond that. Arms move forward easily, very, very easily back. Something certainly that even the Hot Toys Batman couldn't do because he had the rubber piece, the rubber suit over top of the existing body. Arms are on a ball hinge socket too. They rotate, they bend I should say, they also rotate. Batman rotates at the hand via the ball joint. He has a ball joint in the upper torso, right actually underneath this section here is that ball joint. And then the legs go forward, back, out very easily. And a bend and rotation in the lower foot, also a ball joint in the lower leg, also the ball joint in the foot. The only crime, no pun intended because we are looking at Batman, but the only crime that this figure suffers from is why couldn't NECA have acquired rights for other movie properties? And we know generally when it comes to comic movie properties, there are certain big boys that are always handling the properties. Usually it's either Hasbro or it's Mattel. And then NECA, unfortunately, just can't always get the rights to produce movie licenses for comic books. Pretty much is booked up when it comes to other companies taking them. The true crime, though, is the fact that NECA can produce something like this, which I think easily rivals what we've been seeing from other comic book companies or comic book movie companies that are producing toys for those movies. I mean, this figure here easily trumps the kind of stuff that we're seeing for Avengers, for Spider-Man figures. It's a shame that NECA could not have gotten licensing for other properties. So much so, it's also, I'm hoping to see that maybe NECA can also do more Batman figures. We've seen 89 Batman, which turned out phenomenal, but I'd love to see a Jack Nicholson Joker. Love to see a Danny DeVito Penguin. We've seen a taller, yes, an 18-inch version of it, but I'd love to see a smaller take on those characters. You know, sometimes we can't always accommodate an 18-inch figure in our collection, but a 6-inch figure like this, or a little taller than 6 inches, can easily fit into a collection shelf. I just hope that NECA can actually produce more figures like this. This sets the bar high, and I don't know. We'll see certainly where they'll go for a 2015 series. Maybe we'll get more of these. I hope so. I really do hope so. The NES Batman we've already had a look at. Hey, how's it going? But the Blu-ray version of Batman here, I'm going to give him a 9.5. I really don't have much I can say bad about this figure. I'm going to give him a 10. I'm going to give Batman here a 10. Fantastic work by NECA. So glad they could scale the figure down. I loved the taller figure, but really this accommodates my collection a little bit easier. This figure is a must pick up. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the NECA Toys Batman Anniversary figure that came with the Blu-ray. I don't know, maybe I'll give the Blu-ray to one of my friends. But a great figure, though. You have to pick him up. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more videos away. Thanks for watching, as you always do. I'll see you guys next time.